I'll make a start. There we go. Hope you can hear me now. My name is David Gillick, and I'm going to be your MC today and hopefully keep everyone on time. Great to have everyone here. I can see by the audience that we've a mix of aspiring Olympians and some very experienced Olympians. Today is very much about enjoying that journey and getting an understanding from our Olympians who are going to join me up here over the course of the day to talk about the experience. And what I'd really love is that we have the engagement. So again, we're joined by people online as well. So if people are joining us online, you can engage by the chat box, throw any questions in, and we can bring them to the panel. And in the room here as well, over the course of the day, the microphone is at your disposal. So please, any questions, just fire them up to us, and it's a great day of learning. It's an action-packed day, plenty of panellists, plenty of speakers, and a few activities along the way. We'll see how that pans out, which is going to be a bit of crack as well. As someone who has been on the Athletes Commission, it's great to see that it's progressing, and it's great to have a body that is representing the athletes over the course of Olympic cycles, but also they sit at the top table with the athletes, I suppose, voice first and foremost, which is really, really important as we progress over the next couple of years. To kick off today, I'm going to invite Sarah Keane, who is the president of the OFI, to come up and say a couple of words and, get the day going.
Good morning, all. I'm going to be very brief. I just wanted to be here personally to show my support as the OFI president for the role of athletes in the organisation. Our board and our executive feel very strongly that you are central to all we do, and therefore it's really important that your voice is central to all we do. And it's not as easy as it sounds to ensure that your voice is part of the decision making. So a strong Athletes Commission is really, really vitally important to that. And the Olympic Federation has had an Athletes Commission for years and years, but not necessarily a functional one until the last one. That David and Gavin and others here have been a part of. And we now have another really strong Athletes Commission, and that's absolutely vital to ensure that what you want to happen in terms of decision making and also what you feel is important to you gets talked about and gets heard. And that won't always be something that the board can talk about. It won't always be something that I can go out and talk about. But it does mean that you will, in your own right, get an opportunity to speak about what's important to you. And that is something that the OFI board feel very strongly about backing. So I wanted to be here today to, I suppose, pledge my support and the support of the OFI board as a whole and the executive to you in terms of what you want to achieve as athletes. I suppose the other thing I want to say is that it is important that there is a plan, there's a direction of travel in relation to what you want to achieve, and that's why a strategy document is so important. And I think what the Athletes Commission have done is try and put something together that is very clear and, I wouldn't say simple. I think a lot of what's in it will be difficult to achieve, but that's part of what you guys as athletes do. You try and ensure that you achieve at the highest levels, and nothing about what you do is easy. And I think that's also reflected in this. So some of the goals will be short term, some will be medium term, and some will be longer term. But it's important that we pledge and have that direction forward to go as far as we can around it. The other thing, I suppose, is from my perspective, in order for a commission to be properly operating, it does need to be supported financially also. And that's one of the things that Peter, as CEO, and the board feel strongly about. So there is a budget associated with the Athletes Commission as well, and I think it's important to say that to ensure that they can and they are properly empowered to carry out the work that they're trying to do. Because again, sometimes we talk the talk and we don't walk the walk. So it is really important that you are properly empowered as an Athletes Commission to do what you want to do, and that you as a whole as athletes are properly empowered to ensure that you are part of the decision making and that your voice is heard. So that's all I want to say today. I'm obviously always accessible. I normally would meet with the Athletes Commission a couple of times. That hasn't really happened in the last period of time, but I will be doing that personally over the next number of years as long as you're in place. But I want particularly to reference the chair of the Athletes Commission, Shane. Shane has been a board member of the OFI for quite some time now and plays his role as a director of the company as appropriately, but also ensures that he does represent, again as appropriate because he is a director of a board, that the athlete's voice is heard at the meeting as well. He is incredibly passionate a real champion for what you're all about. And for athletes, winter, summer, younger, older, more experienced, less experienced, aspiring, and more experienced again. So I just want to say it's been my real pleasure and privilege to work with Shane over the last number of years. And I'm delighted that he is again chairing and that he's here with you today. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to Shane.
Thanks, Sarah. I don't know what to say. Yeah, very much appreciate it. I equally have really enjoyed the last few years working with the OFI, with the board, and in particular with you and now with Peter. So, yeah, it's great. Welcome to everybody. It's great to see everybody in attendance. I'm actually slightly intimidated because there's so many young people here. You'll probably see I went to the Olympics in 2010. I was 36 when I went. It was the last event I ever did. So I'm going to be 50 next year. So I'm feeling just a little bit old when I look out into the crowd. But that's not a bad thing. That's a really, really good thing. I think it's great to see so many aspiring Olympians here, as well as some very experienced Olympians. So David talked a little bit about the theme for today. So the theme for today is enjoying the journey. What we're really trying to do as a commission and also the OFI as an organisation is to make sure athletes are central to the Olympic journey for all events. So that doesn't just mean, that you get to say when things aren't, you don't think things are great, or, you have issues or there's challenges. It also means that you're integral part of the journey from an enjoyment perspective. So it's really important for us as a commission that happens. We're also taking the opportunity to launch our Athlete Commission strategy. This is kind of like, I won't talk too much about it. I think a lot of what's in it will be things for the future, I guess, in terms of medium to long-term goals. But I will talk a little bit about it. So it's an evolution. So Sarah and David referenced the previous Athlete Commission. There was a lot of really good work done at that Athlete Commission. There was a strong foundation laid in terms of what we can build off with the current Athlete Commission. And I think with the mix of skills we have across sports, both in and out of sport, it's we have a huge opportunity here. I'm going to very quickly just introduce the Athlete Commission. I don't know how many people are aware of who's on it. There's myself, Shane O'Connor, so I'm the chair. Natalia Coyle, who's modern pentathlon, she's the vice chair. Annalise Murphy from sailing. Brendan Boyce from athletics, Claire Lamb from rowing, David Hart from hockey, Paddy Barnes from boxing, and Sanita Paspor from rowing. Here today we have Annalise, Paddy, Brendan, Sanita. So please reach out, talk to them today, just chat with them. There's a lot of feedback we're looking for, and then there's a lot of feedback that we can give. In terms of the new strategy, we didn't want to just replicate what went before. I mean, it's difficult to decide what we would like to do in terms of how we represent athletes. But at the same time, we didn't want to just reinvent a wheel for the sake of reinventing the wheel. You can see on the slide here, this is like a one-pager of what the strategy is. What it doesn't show there is the vision that we've set out. We've set out quite a bold vision. I'm going to read it out to you just so you can hear it. So the vision for us is that Irish Olympic athletes and aspiring Olympic athletes are the best represented athletes in the world, ensuring that they have a wholly positive Olympic experience and the best opportunity to perform. That is a really, really big vision. And I think that is something we're determined to stand on. We're going to do that by driving initiatives under 4 pillars. So you can see the pillars are here. So it's athlete welfare, athlete voice, athlete impact, and athlete spirit. There's a number of initiatives. I'm not going to go through them all. I am going to just call out 3 initiatives that we consider priority. The first one, which I think is very relevant to you guys as a body, is we want to develop a register of key issues. What that basically means is we want to talk to you guys. We want your feedback on the challenges that exist for you as athletes. We want to create a register of those, and we want to use that to drive actions beyond. So it might be that we take something and we want to go talk to Sport Ireland. We may advocate to an NF. We may be talking to government departments. A good example, I think, of this is more, I suppose, in the previous commission, we did a roundtable on anti-doping. I don't know if anybody here was involved with that. We got a lot of feedback from the group that was there. We took that feedback to Sport Ireland, and we sort of sat with Sport Ireland and talked about the things that the athletes perceived as concerns. Some of it Sport Ireland were aware of, some of it they weren't. Following on from that, Natalia and myself had an opportunity to meet with members from the European Commission who were in Ireland, meeting with Sport Ireland to talk about anti-doping, and we were able to feed that in. So it's just an example of what we want to do with the issues and the challenges that you guys raise to try and make the world that you exist in a better place. The second priority, which Annalise is going to talk about in detail later, is a mentorship program where we're looking to just pair experienced Olympians with aspiring Olympians and to create some sort of a peer support network. So that's for you guys, particularly you guys in the back row, because that's where all the young people tend to sit. We want to try and get you guys as much exposure to how the world works as an Olympic athlete. And the best way to do that is to have experienced Olympians work with you guys to help you understand the challenges that you're going to face as you move forward and to hopefully give you solutions to those challenges. And then the third initiative, which is arguably the most challenging and potentially the most far-reaching, and that is essentially to advocate for what we've termed Olympic athlete career recognition. We basically want to have Olympic athletes some sort of unique recognition similar to what professional athletes outside of Olympic sports would have. The reason we want that is because we want athletes to know that they have a safety net of social supports when they retire, or if they get injured, or if they are struggling with for whatever reason or whatever issue within the sport. This was first discussed in 2017. Ironically, Derval O'Rourke raised it. She raised it in the context of maternity support. So, retired athletes, they weren't entitled to maternity benefits within the social welfare system for a period of time because you have to make a certain amount of contributions in the tax system. I won't go into the details, but the point, I guess, is that we really want to get this recognition for Olympic athletes. Our intention is to advocate for this, so we know full well we don't have the expertise in this area to propose solutions. So what we're going to do is put it up to the various organisations, to the stakeholders like Sport Ireland, Department of Sport, Department of Social Welfare, Department of Finance, and we're going to be asking them to provide solutions to the things that we perceive as challenges. So we will be reaching out to you guys for feedback on the types of things that you may be challenged by in relation to that, and then we will take that and we will I guess apply a squeeze to those stakeholders to put in place a thing. The one thing I do want to point out is that we know there are a lot of supports already there. So there's a lot of really, really good support through the Sport Ireland Institute. Sport Ireland have the maternity benefit within the karting programme. We're not trying to, I suppose, replicate that. What we're trying to do is identify if there's a gap that can't be addressed by those organisations that we can then try to push other organisations to fill. So it's to make a complete picture and for you guys as athletes. Putting those aside, so they're like priority initiatives for us, but putting those aside, the wider job for us will always be to advocate for you guys. So as Sarah referenced it, I sit on the board. I basically represented the board feedback from the Athlete Commission, which ultimately should come from you guys. So you guys have an avenue to raise your issues at the top table, as David said, and have those issues discussed within the OFI board. Directly with Gavin, for example, as the chef de mission for Paris. We work pretty closely with Gavin in that regard, which means that those issues can be discussed, they can be addressed, they can be solved, they can be resolved to everybody's satisfaction. And on the topic of Gavin, we're already working really closely with Gavin, so he's going to present today on Paris 2024. And I think it'll give you guys a good picture of the planning that's happened to date. And I think it's really, really important. I mean, it's a really positive relationship we have. Gavin, he was on a previous Athlete Commission, so obviously it's a really positive thing for you guys as athletes. The other thing that I just want to briefly mention before I finish is that we're also going to be launching, and this is in collaboration with the OFI, like the executive board, what we call, I guess, a Make a Difference fund. So we're going to be making available €65,000, which will be a grant fund, I suppose, that you can apply for athletes who need additional support for high performance supports that don't fit inside the current system. So one good example actually that we talked about this morning was if you're a boxer and you need a sparring partner, but you have to pay something towards that sparring partner, or there's a cost to having that sparring partner, that maybe this could be an avenue to get additional funding to support stuff like that. I'm really pleased to say that we're going to be rolling that out quite quickly, and we'll be sending out information. Heather will be sending out information about that in the near future. The last thing I'm going to say is my thanks. So I want to give my thanks to the OFI board, in particular Sarah, to Peter, and all of his staff, because without their buy-in, we can't achieve anything. We amount to nothing. So while we're here and we want to advocate for you guys, one of the most important things is that we get the recognition from the OFI board, the OFI staff, the organisation, and that is super important. And that doesn't happen in every nation. So we are in many ways unique as a nation to have that situation and that scenario. The last thing I want to say is Heather, if she's in here, yes, I see you. We can't exist without Heather. We coined a phrase in the last commission, everybody needs a Heather, but actually everybody needs the Heather. It's not a Heather. So, and I feel it's important to say that because, we owe a debt to Heather for facilitating a lot of what we do. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Peter, I think. No? I'm going to hand over to David. Sorry. And we will get the day moving.
Thanks, Shane. And as you can see, Shane is obviously full of enthusiasm and energy, even if he is pushing 50. Sorry, Shane. But he did raise some really good points there. One of which is if you're not sitting at the back row, you're old. Sorry. But look, we're moving on. And